Guys, this is gonna be a really hard video to make. It's time you all knew that for the past decade that I've been producing, composing, mixing music, I've been doing something that everyone says you shouldn't do. But the more I think about it, the less ashamed I am of it, because it's kind of how I managed to become good enough to actually make a career out of it. All right, I'm gonna drop the whole shtick now because you obviously already read the title and you know what I'm gonna say, which is that I have ripped off countless artists, and that's kind of how I became a good enough producer to actually even make a career out of this. Shocking, I know. I think a lot of people hear this and they freak out and they think, dude, man, it's all about being original though, bro. How could you do that? How could you rip off all the other artists that work so hard to create their sound and then you just rip them off? How does that make you a better producer, dude? That just makes you a rip off, dude. That makes you an original, bruh. Well, hold on. Let me explain, and let me actually tell you before the video even starts that you should be doing this too, because this is how you will become a better producer. Hold on, before you click out of this video and you're like, all right, this guy's full of crap. This guy's just saying a bunch of baloney. I don't know why I'm doing so many voices today. It's weird. Anyways, here's the disclaimer part where I reveal that I'm not actually ripping people off, like blatantly. I strongly believe that yes, you should strive to be original and don't steal from people, like blatantly, obviously. Obviously. What I'm trying to get at is that when you rip people off in your own way, you will become a better producer. If you're just joining the channel, or even if you've only seen a few videos, you probably don't know that before I was, freelancing and running this channel, I was involved in the advertising industry for 10 years, writing jingles. I may have even won an award or two. So I guess that makes me an expert on this subject, and you should trust me. Obviously, I'm kidding. Awards are mostly just they don't matter as much as you think they do. But what I'm really saying is that I've been doing this for a long time, and I've learned a few things. Something that I get a lot from friends that are trying to get into production is, how do you get good? And I think one of the most common mistakes that a lot of people do when they're getting into production is that they try to immediately just go into figuring out their sound and creating like something completely original, and they get stuck and they work on one song for way too long. I'm telling you this from personal experience. I did this when I first started, and it gets you nowhere. Like, sure, you might progress a tiny bit on your own sound, but you're not gonna realistically get something that's ready to go out, and even more so than that, impress anybody as far as production goes. The advice that I give to everyone is this: rip off as many people as possible, make as many songs as possible, trying to sound like the people that you like. Not because you want to sound like them, but because you will learn a ton in the process. Outside of tutorials, outside of, music theory, outside of the million other things you should be doing to try to get better, this has single-handedly made me a better producer over time. If you've ever learned a song so that you could cover it and try to impress your friends, and then you realize that you're doing a much worse job than the original artist, so they tell you, please stop, let's just put on Spotify, this is not a good idea, you're making a joke out of yourself, then you know what it's like to dissect a song and kind of like learn from it. Usually by the time you're able to, get through the song, you realize like, oh, I can kind of get a little bit into the headspace of what the songwriter was trying to do here. Ripping off a song takes that to the next level, because it forces you to not just copy the chord progression that you're hearing, but it forces you to ask, what is it that makes this song this song? You start to break down the artist and the production further and further, and you start picking up on little things like, oh, it sounds like this artist always uses the same kick in every song. Or maybe like, oh, I never really realized this artist likes to use this specific synth patch on almost all of their songs. Before I go any further, you should understand that when I say I'm ripping off artists, 99% of these songs that I'm creating are not going out into the world. They are purely just an exercise. I'm writing songs, I'm producing songs that are very clearly inspired by other artists, and I'm trying to emulate their sound. Obviously, there's not a lot of use in releasing these songs because, let's be real, like, you're never going to achieve the exact thing that artist already achieves way better than you do. So, is there really an audience for that? Do you really want to go out and promote yourself as an artist that sounds exactly like another artist? Probably not. But I think it's such an invaluable exercise to go through that process as if you were going to release a song that sounds exactly like another artist. I'll give you an example. For the longest time when I was first starting, I would just drench my vocals in reverb. I'm still a little guilty of this. And then one day I decided I wanted to make a song that sounded a lot like Radiohead. This was around the time that their album A Moon-Shaped Pool had come out. And it's funny because I had this impression that Radiohead always just had a ton of reverb on Tom's voice. And it wasn't until I actually listened to that album with the intention of ripping it off that I realized that most of the songs, if not all of the songs on that album, have Tom's voice extremely dry. I mean, listen to this. We are helpless to resist. That's when I came to realize that this is a very conscious decision, because then it allows a ton of space for all of the other instrumentation to just be lush and reverby and delayed and all this crazy stuff. And it gave me the impression that it was Tom's voice that was all spaced out, but in reality, it's pretty dry. But these are the little things that you will pick up by trying to rip off other artists. You'll start kind of getting rid of misconceptions that you have, and you'll start learning stuff that you would have never learned had you not tried to rip off said artists. You'll be surprised how much progress you see in your own production after just a month of doing this. And I think this is a good time to mention that you should be getting out of your comfort zone when you do this. Do you hate country? Find out why you hate country. Make a country song. And guess what? In the process of making a country song, you might realize maybe you don't hate country that much, and maybe country is a little bit harder than you thought to make. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're a country genius and then you just make a big hit and then you just laugh all the way to the bank. Cool. But my point is that you will learn a ton more by making the kind of music that you don't necessarily listen to. That's how innovation happens. That's how new genres are created. So go out there and rip people off. Just don't get sued in the process. So that's it for this video. Just some food for thought. It's helped me a ton over the past decade, and I think it can help you. If you like this video, like it. Like, literally like it. You liked it. Did you have an opinion? You either liked it or you didn't like it. So decide now. Did you like it or not? There's a button right down there. You can like it or not like it. It's fine. I'm joking. It's fine. But if you do like it and subscribe and comment and all that stuff, because it helps me out a ton. And thanks for watching. Stay tuned.